Leeds have got a statue of,
Yes.
of the great John Holmes, which was a very emotional day. David Ward was brilliant unveiling it. His family were clearly very tearful, and I would mention to any fan that is going to Headingley now when crowds come back from Monday, just go and have a look at it, because it may be a Leeds icon, but it just is something that fans can. Statues are really important at stadiums, I think, and something that fans can arrange to meet at, rally round, look at the history of a club, feel the game is all encompassing and embracing, and every club should have a statue to their greatest player. Difficult for those that don't own their own ground, I get that, but in 131 years of one of the most famous sporting venues in this country, to have its first statue, it was a big event.
Tell me about him, Phil, because I'm not a Leeds fan, so I don't know much about him or his legacy, or why is he, of all the players in history, and of course we've just gone through the golden generation. Shut up, dog. We've all seen Leeds' greatest side playing recently, but why above everything is he Leeds' greatest player?
Well, one of the ways you measure things like that is the number of games played at the highest level. So he played 625 matches for the then Loiners, which is 82 more than any other player has ever played. So in terms of 21 years of service and playing in 19 finals and winning 14 of them, and being the maestro in the winning of a lot of those 14, his playing record in terms of longevity and success speaks for itself. You add into that, he was a World Cup winner in 1972, the last time that Great Britain won the competition. He was playing standoff. Not too many players have got that on their CV, and certainly not too many Leeds players have got that on their CV either. So that elevates him from a playing point of view. But I think it's all about what he represented. He came from Kirkstall, which from where his statue is positioned, you can actually see. He used to walk to the ground. He was the most humble, modest and reluctant of people. Very rarely did an interview, very rarely stayed after a game. Once he'd had his pint, washed down his meal, he was back home. Just the way he played, I think, and what he stood for, epitomised everything that's best about the sport. And there was a tribute lunch afterwards where some of the people who played against him were equally in awe of him and his talent and his humility as those who played with him, who held him in such special regard. So I think when the local hero embodies everything a club stands for, when they're the player who's represented that side more than any other, when they've had success that is the equal of virtually everybody who's ever played for the club, it sort of was the obvious choice. And even Neil Fox was there lauding him, so it must be right.
And as you say, who's not on the Wembley statue again, which we have to mention at this point. But as you say, for people who will now go to Headingley and see that statue, those who saw him play can tell those who didn't exactly how great he was, and that's how important these things are. Yeah,
and I think again it's about the game of rugby league that the more personalities that are captured for posterity, be it Billy Boston now down in Wales when they do their a code breaker statue, whether it's somebody turning up and wondering why Martin Affire's on his knees with his face in his hands at Wembley. It's storytelling, I think those of us that have been fortunate enough to be at other sports grounds. The finest example, I think, is the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which has a statue about every 5 paces. But you stop and you read the plaque and you look at the date, and they're not all cricket. Some of them are AFL, and it tells a tale. And if you're interested in context and history and the shoulders of giants, it's really, really important that we do preserve all this kind of thing.
Like Jimmy Hill at Coventry, so the people can see when the World Cup comes around in the autumn. It's a nice statue, and it's good because I've seen pictures of John Holmes. It looks like him as well, because a lot of these statues, you have to ask who they are, even if there's a thing underneath. But the artist has done a very good job on that, and I look forward to seeing it in person next time I'm at Headingley, which it feels like a long time since I've been there now.
I think you'll be impressed because it's 8 foot high on a Yorkshire stone plinth, so it commands that car park area just in front of the south stand, and wherever you walk it looks slightly different, which is an absolute gift of the sculptors, that he's holding a ball ready to pass it, and if you stand on the left hand side of him you almost feel that that ball is coming to you. So I'm biased, clearly, but I think it's, you know, Steve Winterburn, who did the Wembley statue as well, and he's going to be doing the Code Breakers one in Wales. It's taken 7 years, and he has done a sensation. I don't think we appreciate how hard it is to go from a 2-dimensional photographic image to a 3-dimensional 1.5 times or 1 point whatever times size it is, 3-dimensional. But he's captured it. He's got it.